Hello my book bestie friends, welcome to the last bookish video that I'm going to be posting in 2023. Today we're going to be going through and talking about every single book that I read in 2023. This year my reading goal was to read 100 books and I definitely did not meet that goal. I actually read a total of 49 books this year, and to be honest, yes, I didn't reach my reading goal that I wanted to, but I feel like 49 books within a year, especially with how busy 2023 was for me, I feel like that is a pretty good amount, and I still found some really good books that I absolutely love, and I'm so excited to be talking about them with you guys. I'm not going to go into much detail with my reviews and stuff for these books because I do have my monthly reading wrap-ups already posted, and because I will be here for a really long time if I go in depth. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how many books you read this year and what your favorite book you read this year was. I would love to know, and let's just hop right into it. I started 2023 off strong by reading Shipped by Angie Hockman, which is a workplace rivals romance. It was so fun. It was actually set in a cruise ship and I loved the setting and the characters. This one was a 4-star read for me. Then we have The Enemy Trap by Mariam. I did not really enjoy this book. This one had the accidental pregnancy trope, which is a no for me, so I rated this one 2 stars. Then I read Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. The only thing that I liked about this book was the book cover, because the cover is so cute, but I just did not like the story. I rated this one 3 stars. I also completed the entire Twisted series. I read Twisted Love last year, which I rated 3 stars, but I finished the rest of the series this year. So we have Twisted Games, which is a forbidden romance bodyguard princess. This is my favorite book in the series. So good. I rated this one 4.5 stars. Then we have Twisted Hate, which is enemies with benefits to lovers, and the spice in this book was top tier. Oh my goodness, it was so good. I rated this one 4 stars. And then last but not least, we have Twisted Lies, which is a fake dating romance. I really enjoyed this. I love the stalker side plot, honestly. This was just so good. I rated this one 4.5 stars. Honestly, one of my reading goals was actually to finish the Twisted series in 2023, and I'm so glad that I did, but I miss this world so much. Then I stepped out of my comfort zone and read Normal People by Sally Rooney, which completely took me by surprise at how much I ended up enjoying this one. Yes, it's very character focused, no plot, and the story is a little hard to follow along sometimes, but I really appreciated the story, to be honest, and I rated this one 4 stars, which I'm just as surprised as you guys. Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I really did not enjoy this story, guys. This did not need to be 500 pages, and this was a no from me. 2 stars. Then I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which was my first 5-star read of the year. This one was so good. It's an ice hockey college sports romance. I loved the relationship between Hannah and Garrett. This was just so good. I just love this book. This one was easy 5 stars for me. Then we have How to Love Your Neighbor by Sophie Sullivan. I didn't really like this book. I found this book to be very cringy and cheesy and boring, and I rated this one 3 stars. Then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is so cheesy, but I feel like this is cheesy in the best possible way, if that even makes any sense. It was just so cute and the perfect rom-com-y vibes. 4.5 stars. Love this book. Then we have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This book still lives rent-free in my brain. I tabbed, annotated it, and I still go back and reread some of my annotations, and this book just made me feel so giddy with excitement, and I just loved it. This was also 5 stars. Then we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and hot take, but I did not like this book. I really just did not like Percy, the main character, and I did not like how this book ended and the trope that it introduced towards the end. This was very disappointing for me, especially with all the hype that it got last summer, but I rated this one 3 stars. Then we have The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams is one of my favorite authors, and I loved this book. This is one of my favorite fake dating romances. It was just so cute. I rated this one 4 stars. Then we have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Let's take a moment to appreciate this cover because it is beautiful, so stunning. I really like this book. I really like the way that this book depicted grief. Yes, this book is a little bit repetitive, but I just really liked it and I rated it 4 stars. Then we have The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, which I actually read on Valentine's Day, and it is the perfect Valentine's Day book. Highly recommend you guys please read this on Valentine's Day because it's a Valentine's Day time loop situation, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was 4 stars. I just love the way Lynn Painter writes. Then I read Killjoy by Holly Jackson, which is like the prequel novella to the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy, which was one of my favorite series from last year. I rated this one 3 stars. Obviously with it being a novella, like you're not really as invested, and I honestly would have preferred like a sequel to As Good as Dead rather than this prequel novella. Then I read Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts. This was the spiciest book that I read in 2023, and I actually personally did not like this book. I just made me feel uncomfortable. Listen to Your Heart by Casey West, which I rated 3 stars because I honestly found this book to be very boring. Then I read Our Secrets and Scars by Maisie Myers, which is really a fun concept because it's a prison pen pal romance, and it was so cool. And I also really loved it because it actually incorporated letters in here, which I just love in books. This one was 4 stars for me. You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thau, which was also another book that really disappointed me this year because I feel like the concept was really good, but the execution could have been so much better, and I rated this one 3 stars. Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score, and I really love this book. This one was just so freaking cute. I love the found family and the setting, and the golden retriever cinnamon roll book boyfriend. Love. This one was also 5 stars. I also have another 5-star read, which was The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. This was the perfect Grumpy Sunshine romance, and I just loved it. It's also set in like a adult Disneyland version, and I just love that. So good. 5 stars. When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I think this is my favorite Sarah Adams book. It is the perfect small town romance. It's so cozy, found family, just so good. I rated this one I think 4 or 4.5 stars. Then I read the Ballinger Sisters duet. So I started with It Happened One Summer, which is a Grumpy Sunshine small town romance. I love this book. The slow burn was so good, the spice was so good, and this was reminding me so much of Schitt's Creek and Wild Child. I loved this small town, one of my favorite small towns ever, and I rated this one 4 stars. For Hook, Line and Sinker, I rated this one at 3.5 stars. This one is a friends to lovers, still set in the same small town, but it didn't hit the same as It Happened One Summer. Then I read Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter, which is her adult romance, and I did not like this one as much as the other 2 books. I still found it really easy to read through because Lynn Painter's writing is always just so good, but I just didn't really ship the characters together. Like I didn't really care about them too much. I personally prefer her YA romances, but I rated this one 3 stars. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and this is one of my favorite childhood friends to lovers romance. It was just so good. Alternative timeline, second chance romance. They both are readers and they connected through books, which I really just loved, and I rated this one 4 stars. Ramon and Julieta by Alana Quintana Albertson. This is a Romeo and Juliet reimagining, and this one was so boring. Honestly, I really did not like this. Finally read Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I really liked this book. Even despite the political stuff that they talked about, I still really liked it, and I rated it 3.75 stars. One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, aka my favorite book of 2023. So freaking good, you guys. If you haven't read this book, please read it because it was my favorite book ever. Yes, it has love triangle, but it's the only book that I've read a love triangle in a romance, like a contemporary romance, that I just adored. I love TJ's writing, and this was so good. 5 stars. I also read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid as well. I rated this one 4 stars. This is very grief heavy. Please don't go into this book thinking it's purely a romance because it's not. It's mainly talking about grief. I feel like grief was really represented super well in this book, and it was a 4-star read for me. Chase Me by Tessa Bailey, which is the first book in the Broken Beautiful series. I did not like this book. This was very much lust-based. There was no love between these two characters. It was just boring. So I rated it 2 stars. 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. This was such a fun thriller because it's set in an RV and it's spanned out in 8 hours, and the book is literally like split up into the 8-hour time frame. It was a little slow at the start, but once you start getting into it, I just binged the entire thing, and I rated this one 4 stars. Then I read the 6 Crimson Cranes duet. I actually reread 6 Crimson Cranes because I first read this one last year and I rated it 4 stars back then, and I still stand by that rating. It is just such a fun book, and it is a little YA fantasy. And then the sequel, which is The Dragon's Promise, which honestly I did not think this book would have even needed to be written, and it definitely did not need to be this long. I personally feel like the sequel really let me down. I was really disappointed by it, but I rated this one 3 stars. Then I reread It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I still stand by my 5-star rating for this book. I just really enjoyed it, and it was really interesting reading this the second time around because I noticed so many red flags that I did not pick up the first time that I started reading this book, so that was really interesting. And then I read the sequel, which is It Starts With Us, and I rated this one 4 stars. I just like that I got the closure that I needed, but I still feel like Ryle should have gotten a different ending, honestly. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Loved this book. This couple is probably my favorite couple of 2023. Honestly, these characters know how to communicate, and I really appreciated that. I rated this one 4 stars. Finally read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I started my ACOTAR series, finally. I rated this one 3 stars. It did take me a while to get through this book, but once you get through the world building, and honestly the world building was actually not too heavy, which I really appreciated as someone who's predominantly a contemporary romance girly, and ended up really enjoying the last bit of it, and I am excited to read the sequel, but I rated this one 3 stars. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, and I rated this one 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I loved this small town. I love these side characters, the found family aspect, the side plot. It was just such an enjoyable read. Things We Hide From the Light by Lucy Score, which is the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series. This is following Lena and Nash. I did not really enjoy this, to be honest. I found that this book had way too many plots going on, and I really didn't ship the two characters together, to be honest. I just didn't really see the chemistry too much with these two. So this one did disappoint me a little bit, but I did rate this one 3 stars. And the last 7 books I don't have physical copies of, so I've got them written down here on my phone, but I'll have a little photo of it on the screen. So we have Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is actually a collection of 4 short stories. They're all set in this little coffee shop. It's magical realism, and it was actually a very emotional read, to be honest. I liked it, but also I didn't at the same time. I don't know, but I rated this one 3 stars. I Love Jason Thorne by Ella Mays, which was my least favorite book of 2023. I rated it 1 star. It was my only 1-star read of the year. I really did not like this book. You can watch my worst books of the year video to see everything I talked about why I didn't like that book, but it just gave me the ick. Then I've read I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy, which is her memoir. I don't rate memoirs, so I'm not going to give you guys my rating, but this book had me in the feels. I was just shocked and emotional reading it, especially when you guys listen to the audiobook, because Jeanette actually narrated the audiobook. It just gets you so emotional listening to it or reading it. Detective, which was the shortest book that I read this year, and it is a little spicy novella. Honestly, I don't really remember too much of it. I just remember it had like summer vibes, and I rated it 3 stars. Book Boyfriend, which is also another short story novella, which I rated 3 stars. Once Upon a December, which was my first holiday romance read of the year. This one was really cute. I love the magical realism aspect in this story, but I did find this to be a little bit repetitive and boring at some times, so I rated it 3 stars. Lastly, I read A Christmas Date, and this one reminded me so much of the movie The Holiday, and I love that movie, so I did enjoy reading the book as well, but I wasn't super invested in the story, to be honest, but it was still fun, so I rated it 3 stars. That is every single book that I read in 2023. I cannot believe 2023 is done. 2024 is about to begin, which is so exciting, but like, gosh, this year has gone by so fast. If you guys did enjoy watching this video, please give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below for more fun content in 2024, and I will see you all in my next video in the new year. Bye!